Yes, I'm starting to lose my examples because I'm probably burnt out right now, but 30 is I mimicked people, so I remember just like repeating things the way that they said it because it would either make me laugh or I was like trying to remember how to say a word. Like that was part of my learning. And then even to this day, sometimes if I like hear a word I haven't heard before, I would kind of like repeat it over and over in my head to remember it, or sometimes it just like feels good saying it, or it does something for my brain. It like tickles my brain in a good way to like repeat things. And 31, astrology. So in elementary school, I got this astrology booklet. So at such a young age, that was one of my main interests. It was like, I knew every single person's birthday and star sign, like in my closest group and even some others. And it would have like their characteristics. It was actually a birthday book, so it had every single birthday, 365 days. And I wrote their names and their birthdays in it, and then I would kind of read to see if what characteristics linked up. And I kind of just think of that now as like a really interesting thing as like a child. Like not high school, not middle school, like elementary school. And I think maybe that's possibly why I was able to develop some of my skills socially further, because that was like one of my interests, to try to like be like others and try to mask so young and seem normal even though I wasn't normal. 32, motor skills. So I was just behind others. I wasn't taught those things at home, and I learned from neighbors or friends, but I just had a hard time. Maybe I just felt like giving up easily, because when I was being helped by my dad, that discomfort of being in close proximity with certain people like made me just freeze and give up. But like my 9-year-old friend taught me how to tie my shoes, so I wasn't tying my shoes till I was 9, which I'm sure is much later than most. And riding a bike took a lot longer, just a lot of things like that. 33 is the bus. I would literally get like so irritated and like on the verge of a meltdown riding the bus without headphones. So whether it be like listening in on really ignorant conversations amongst other people, or noises, or people eating apples, and people like being show-offs where they're just saying silly things to try to get the attention of everyone, things like that would just like really irritate me. And anytime I had a bus ride where like my electronic device was dead, or whatever, I didn't have headphones, it was a pretty miserable day for me. And I know I did say this list is childhood, but I'm talking childhood like literally infancy all the way to like, right, you know, high school. And let's see. .34. So I would get exhausted during and after social settings. Exhausted, but also irritable. Okay, one last page. So as I said, black and white thinking. So 35, black and white thinking. So, and I just kind of mentioned this already, but you know, it makes people feel uncomfortable sometimes. I used to be more of a black and white thinker, and now I'm so much of a kind of grayscale thinker, or like can see both sides a lot. But I am 35 years old, so we're talking, I've come a long way from childhood to now. And that's why I have such a problem with some people who say like, oh, autism's just becoming so popular, and some people only identify with some of this stuff. And like, just because you can see me flapping my gums for hours and hours about myself and about all the reasons I'm autistic, and some autistic people aren't able to do that, that's why there's a spectrum for a reason. That's why there's different levels of it. So like if you're judging me as a 35-year-old adult, you're not seeing how I was as a child. Like, I'll have to pull out some home movies someday. 36, shy. So it's kind of like I went through different phases back and forth, but younger was more like, you know, in my own world, to shy, to like, then some people would call me mature for my age as a kid. It's kind of like I just couldn't get involved with how other kids thought and how other kids played, and I preferred to be close to adults. I don't know if it's because I was bullied and kids to me were kind of like unpredictable in their ways, but I remember being told that, and I think I was like mature seeming, even though I was like not doing well in school. But then when I got to high school, I can see that I was very immature at times. Very mature and responsible in some ways, and then extremely immature, and probably to do with my ADHD side, like just a lot of trouble concentrating in school. And what I wanted to say about that too, going back to being bullied, like even by educators, it's just like, you know, I was always kind of made to feel like, oh, I'm just lazy and I'm not trying, but it's like I'm literally just having so much going on, like from sensory overload to things going on at home to I have tried harder? Yes, but no one was trying very hard for me at home, so I was just doing the best I can and basically raising myself. 37, didn't understand literature very well or poems, so I almost always interpret like songs and writing and poems like in my complete own way. I just don't I don't know why. I guess it's just being autistic. Like everyone kind of can see things one way and I see things my way. And autistic people see things their own way, or it's due to the lack of education or people around us influencing us so that we do understand meanings a bit more. Like, I don't know if it's called idioms or what, but a lot of apparently autistic people like that, but I really don't. I don't use them often at all. Like that's, I don't know, one of those autistic things. I just, you'll almost never hear me say them, or maybe I say them and I don't even realize. 38, friends acknowledge my shortcomings often, and even as young as grade 2. I remember I did go through some sort of testing around that time, which I'm surprised they didn't. I don't know if it just completely went over my parents' head, or they told me and they thought I knew what that meant, or there never continued to be any sort of discussion about it afterwards, or any sort of intervention to help me, or speech therapy, or learning, or a tutor, just nothing. So I just remember specifically, like around this time when I was held back in grade 2, a friend of mine was held back, but she ended up going to sort of like a special needs school, and my friends like purposely pointed that out to me. I'm like, well, my other friend didn't make it to grade 3 either, and they would say, yeah, but she's dyslexic. Anyway, 39, well, I'm dyslexic too. By the way, just somehow I was overlooked, or my parents didn't want to put me in special school. Who knows? I don't even want to ask at this point, because memories don't seem to be too accurate these days. And well, my main abuser is deceased. 39, bad habits. So with stimming, I'd rip my nails off. I've always pretty much had short nails. There's times in my life where I've grown them, but I almost always end up, it's a very short-lived thing. And like, I can't help but leave things alone. Like if I have a scratch, like picking, like those gross habits. And itching could be part of fibromyalgia or my food sensitivities, but it could also just be like a nervous thing. I don't exactly know, but just a lot of bad habits with my